invitation from Cassie and Paul to join this event. And then they were mentioning the word science slam, and I have a background in basketball. I used to play basketball for many years, so the first thing I thought about was the slam dunk competition, the slam dunk contest in the NBA. So I thought maybe they make us make some dunks, I don't know, something like that. So then I thought, okay, I'll go dress like a basketball player instead of like a kickboxer. So, well, here you have Michael, Air Jordan, probably most of you know him. So, well, coming from Lund University, I cannot say I play in the Chicago Bulls, but I'd rather play in the Chicago Lund. And, well, for tonight at least you can call me Air Jon Mi. So maybe I'll disappoint you later, but hopefully not. So, what will Air Jon Mi talk about? Air Jon Mi will talk tonight about the role of public procurement. Maybe some of you have heard about that. As a policy instrument that can foster innovative activities in companies. And when we talk about public procurement, it's not that we are in Holland and I come from Spain, so it's not about the royal families buying or purchasing good for the kids or the grandchildren or things like that. Neither really is when the Spanish national football team, sorry to say, I'm sorry to put this picture, but of course, it's not when they provide some incentives for the football players to buy new equipment or balls or things like that. No, it's a bit more complicated than that. So the context for this public procurement, and I try to symbolize it like that, is the public procurement as an stimuli or as an instrument to foster innovative activities is very much related to the grand challenges that many of you have probably heard about, like the aging population or the healthcare systems or environmental concerns and things like that. So in this case, we have in this picture this this baby, this child here, and then here we have on two sides his parents. On the left hand side we have his mother. I decided to call Susan Ply, and then on the right hand side we have the man, and he doesn't have a name because it's the man of the family, of course. And now you will understand why I decided to put these names, because when instead of talking about children and youth education, when we talk about innovation and the problems posed by these grand challenges, then also when we are talking about the instruments that can aid or can help in the mitigation of these grand challenges, then we also have the two sides. And one of them, of course, on the left hand side we have the Susan Ply, we have the supply. And on the right hand side we have the demand, right? So that was the thing. So as I said, the goal of public procurement is in the end to help as a demand side instrument to help in the mitigation of these grand challenges, right? So this will be the goal of the procurement initiative themselves. And when we are talking about public procurement, there are usually two types of instruments that can be distinguished. On the left hand side we have the pre-commercial procurement, or PCP. This is why I try to symbolize this as a PC, sorry to say that. And on the right hand side we have the public procurement for innovation, or called in the literature as PPI, and I think the picture doesn't need explanation. So well, then the research question, as Stefan mentioned before, the research question and also the title for the presentation would be like coming back to that old movie. Why do they call it PPI when they really mean PCP? So then, in order to address that research question, I studied several cases about public procurement for innovation on the one hand, and then pre-commercial procurement about that. And as you can see, there are different labels or different categories on both sides that I will briefly explain. So by adaptive procurement, we mean incremental innovation. So as a result of that procurement initiative, incremental innovations, or new to the country or new to the sector are developed. In turn, the developmental procurement is when radical or new to the world innovations are developed. As regards the user, the direct procurement is when the public agency or the public body or a ministry buys directly, so the user is the public sector itself. And the catalytic procurement in turn is when the public sector is not the final consumer or the final user of the good, but acts as an intermediary towards plays a catalyzing effect towards diffusing that innovation or that good or service towards different industries. So in this case we have studied several cases. In this case, today I'm presenting the outcomes of 8 cases, 6 of them referring to public procurement for innovation, and the other 2 ones, one of them actually from here, from the Netherlands, about PCP. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any case that deals with catalytic procurement and radical innovations or developmental procurement. That's why we have this question mark here. So, well, what are the results that I found very briefly as a result of the analysis, in-depth analysis of these 8 cases? Well, when we go to the pre-commercial procurement, we can see that public agencies or these public bodies, they don't describe the specific requirements that they want to address in the call. Something that it really happens when you go to the public procurement for innovation. In the calls that we have studied, there were both functional and technical requirements, very detailed. As a matter of fact, in one of the cases was about a high-speed train in Sweden. And then in there, the list of technical requirements was larger than 2,000 requirements. And in the case of the Dutch case, for example, I don't remember now exactly, in the paper it is emphasized, but the research question was like, we want to address or we want to study why the dikes are being broken after certain years. And that was the requirement list. So compare that question towards the 2,000 requirements in the case of the high-speed train in Sweden. Another difference in the case of the PCP is that the outcome of the result of that is that new R&D-based knowledge is developed, while in turn in the PPI, it's the result are new innovations, goods or services that you can directly implement and have a commercial impact. So somehow we can say that the PCP, the development of new products is not part of the PCP itself, is the provision of new type of R&D-based type of knowledge. One, in the case of PPI, one of the main drivers of that initiative or that instrument is to have a final user, either public or private, in the case of catalytic procurement, as we have seen. So this leads me to conclude that the responsibility on the PCP side, that the responsibility for commercialization lies in the shoulders of the company, because they belong to the IPR, they have the IPR, while in the case of the PCP, or of the public procurement for innovation, the PPI, the commercialization is already given by the initiative itself. The public sector is going to be the first market in which those products or services are going to be sold. So that leads me to conclude somehow that the PCP can be a supply side instrument to innovation, so in this case would be more closer to the role of the MUM, and the PPI would play the role of the DAT, the demand side for innovation. So, well, that was it. So thanks a lot, and well, hopefully see you later.